Well, hey, it's me, your pal Beezus. I'm just helping my friend Henry Huggins deliver his newspapers. There you go, Mrs. Peabody. Nah, just kidding, it's me, Teal. But, I am Teal, aka Beezus, right now. Beezus is a character that I portrayed. This is the video I know my many throngs of fans have been waiting for, because I've been teasing it all week. Still could never find the script in the basement, but hey, that's keen. It's swell. It's okay. It'll be fine. Ring a bell, it's swell. Ring a bell just 'cause it's fun. Ring a bell 'cause there's sun. It really does. I mean, I gotta say, my neighborhood certainly does rather resemble that 1950s ideal. And I've already resigned myself to the fact that there's probably going to be some kind of modern interference, some sort of crazy chainsaw will start up, or a noise will happen, or a car will drive by, or some such thing to distract me from my cuteness. But that's okay. We shan't be deterred. Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to make my... Whoa! Going for a wild ride. Make sure my papers don't fly. So I'll show you some cute stuff here. How just absolutely adorably... Oh, we don't even... That's not... You're just in the way. Shadow of light that we don't need. We have all this glorious sun! But yeah, I've been trying to write this for a week. Beverly Cleary died a week ago, last Thursday, at the ripe and prime and amazing age of 104 years old. Isn't that remarkable? Wow, we're like, there's barely a little whisper of wind, and it's sending us on a bounce. But how freaking cute is this? I so accurately resemble this look. I was pretty proud of myself. And I just decided, you know what? This was newspaper publicity. I'm not blurring anybody's identities here. Like, we all did it for the fame. Just kidding. But I mean, you know what I mean. Like, this stuff was publicized. So I'm not going to try to hide anyone. Maybe this will show better this way. There we go. Me and my pal Henry Huggins. What a couple of cuties. Right? What the heck? Woo! See what I mean? Ha! Always got to be prepared. I got to get that, Hold on, guys. I got to get that newspaper. I got to get that newspaper that I threw to Miss Peabody so that my poem doesn't blow away. Don't worry. Miss Peabody always sleeps in late anyway. I'll just use that for a moment. But how adorable. I should just take it out of this thing because the plastic makes it hard to see. That modern day pesky plastic. What a hassle. Look at these cutie pies. I just really loved this photo shoot. Just embodying a simpler time. Oh my gosh, that one's so cute. See if I can recreate that one. Ah, it's too darling. It kills me. I still look sort of like that, don't I? I think so. I think I've held on to some of whoever that was. But, what's she doing here? She's like being cute with Henry. She's like, "Hey, Henry. How's it going? You sure look swell today." You know, it's like, I don't think I'm alone in hoping or assuming that Beezus and Henry end up together. I mean, it was just too cute of a pairing, right? Or maybe she just goes left and like chooses Scooter the jock. I'm not sure. But I think her and Henry end up together. And then I was making a funny modern joke in my mind. I was like, what if they named their kid Heezus? Get it? Like Yeezus? Heezus? I thought that was hilarious. But, oh my gosh, what a time. What a wonderful time. Play puts us back in the 50s. He's got the raccoon skin cap on. I remember every detail. I even remember fun stuff like this shirt. We found a lot of shirt styles like this from the 50s because in my theater group, they didn't treat children like children. They treated us like people, and we had like actual tasks that were meaningful rather than just like, be cute, put your tap shoes on. You know, it was like we were respected and given tasks like we hung lighting instruments, we built sets, we painted them, we did the costume research. It was truly amazing, truly remarkable time in life. There's cute little Ramona and Aunt Bee. Everything about it was just so darn cute. And so I remember researching this style of shirt, and it would have just like a couple stripes on it. So we found this at a thrift store or whatever, and we colored in those yellow stripes with highlighter. Like, the attention to detail was really something. But that's yeah. Scooter and Henry. Scooter had the primo paper route, so he's like rivalry, having that neighborhood rivalry with old Mr. Huggins. And I reread this article, and it's just simply darling. It really is just darling how I don't know, they respected us and they thought we did a really good job, and they were like, wow, these kids like pulled out this pretty remarkable thing. And I really love this picture. I'm trying to cover names in case people don't want to be identified. But isn't it cute? I'm just so annoyed with my little sister Ramona. So annoyed. She's always getting all the attention. And that was like our really, really cute little poster. I just think it's so special. Yeah. What a time. What a fun time. Walk down Klickitat Street. So I'm really proud of that. A walk down Klickitat. We had a lot of publicity for this. Like, really a lot. But those little cuties just immortalized in the sweetest little moment. Yeah, but I was trying to open the scene here with that. Do I look just like her? The past me. Hey, Henry, it's me, Beezus. Let's eat ice cream and talk about super innocent stuff, because we don't know the corruptions of the world yet. Yeah, it's fun. It's cute. Fun fact about me is I did not learn to ride a bicycle until I was almost 15 years old. Still don't make a real frequent activity out of it. It terrifies me. Yeah, I don't like I'm not really into the high risk, high intensity, or even low risk, low intensity. I don't like doing things that could potentially lead to the harm of my body, because, I deal with enough kind of pains and troubles. But, yeah, it just always really terrified me, and it's kind of like snowboarding. Like, even the most expertly skilled, sporty people I know have taken some crazy tumbles and broken parts of their bodies I don't even want to mention, because it's too troubling for this cute little 1950s portrait I'm trying to set up. But yeah, it took me a really long time to get on the bike and not be afraid, and even then, first week I learned, my mom put me in a bicycle camp. She thought that would be a really smart idea. So bicycle camp, all the other kids, of course, had been riding since early childhood. And I took a massive tumble down a hill with like orange construction tape. And I got all wound up in the construction tape and bloodied and bruised, and my chin was gashed open and bleeding. And the instructor of the class was like, man, she was a Peloton instructor before Peloton existed. And she was very much like, well, you gotta get up and keep going. And she was being kind of mean to me and kind of like not empathetic at all. She was like, come on, you gotta keep up the pace here. We gotta catch up with the other kids. And she was just making me feel really embarrassed and bad about the tumble I had taken. And then in my stress of trying to keep up, I fell off of a bridge. True freaking story. I was so bloody and beaten and embarrassed, and in my just shame, I took a tumble right off of a bridge. And it wasn't like deep water, but it was like the shallow, murky kind of trail water, and So I was muddy and bloody, and my mom picked me up from the camp that was at like a gym, and I was like, never riding a bike again. And I kind of stuck to that. I've maybe only gotten on one, I would highball estimate 12 times. So that's a little embarrassing, but it's okay. We all have our things. We all have our quirks. Just like Ramona, quirky child. I just love Beverly Cleary. I love Beverly Cleary. That's a tough tongue twister, surprisingly. I loved doing the research on her and just reading about her life, and just this woman who wasn't going to let other people tell her how to make a path for herself. That's kind of the point. Like, it's beautiful. She was scolded and had teachers rolling their eyes at her because she had trouble reading, and it was because she couldn't find material that she thought was interesting. And that sort of stuck with her and kind of led her down the path of becoming a children's author. And everyone is endeared to Henry and Ramona and Beezus and Miss Peabody and the Aunt Bee and the whole crew, Scooter and the gang. I mean, we all just love these stories because it takes us to something less intense than what we've got going on now, And I'll get to the poem because, gosh, this has taken a week's worth of energy, and I wanted to get it done the first day that I heard she had passed away, but then I was really had my heart set on finding the script and getting quotes from the script, and that didn't work out, and it's okay. It all just goes down the way it's supposed to go down. But I am really impressed with how accurately I copied this outfit of mine in this picture. I'm really impressed with myself because this is not the same outfit, despite it looking exactly the same. Like, come on. Could we have gotten any closer here to the real deal? Let's be honest. So this skirt I got from that same garage sale that I hype up all the time. Best garage sale in existence. The shirt was my mother's, so it's definitely vintage. The shoes are super vintage from the 50s, so I'm feeling like I'm really feeling like I nailed the Beezus here. I'm feeling like I got the bee's knees of the Beezus. That's what I'll say. I delivered the bee's knees of Beezus. And it's so blue sky Americana right now. It's just almost nauseatingly cute. And the birds are chirping this symphony of very 1950s-esque little songs in their little bird hearts. And I don't know, it just feels really good. The mood feels quite good. So I'll scoot a little closer to you to just deliver my poem for the day. And this here would be day 91. And we're having some good, clean fun on day 91. And I really appreciate all of you who have taken this wild ride with me through poetry. So yeah, today's special. Ahoy, hoy! Just time traveling to the 50s now.
I was gonna say, where's Toto?
Well, this is Klickitat Street. Ramona and Beezus and all that. Yeah.
Look at you go.
Beverly Cleary just died. 104 years old.
Oh my goodness.
104.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's too long. That's too much.
It's plenty for me.
Yeah.
So you guys are my cute neighbors.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
See, there's a little modern touch, but it's okay. It was cute. It fit in. We're still here. We're still here in the 50s. Did golf carts exist in the 50s? I have no earthly idea, but it's cool. Here we go, trucking right along. So, yeah, thanks for taking the winding roads, sometimes dark and scary and ominous and covered with shadows, and sometimes beautiful and blue. Like, the sky is a cartoon version of itself right now. It's really almost hard to believe that it's real. There's not one single cloud as far as the eye can see, and it's beautiful. And it's me, Beezus. I love that name. It's like, I love it so much I almost want to name a child that, but I probably wouldn't go that far because everyone would be like, Beezus. Because everyone makes fun of everything. But there was even a quote in one of the books where she says something like, who could love someone named Beezus? And Ramona says, I don't know, Jesus? It's so cute. It's just all so cute. It's cheek pinchingly, cheek achingly cute. But here we go. We're gonna roll into it because my phone's been running out of battery way quicker than it should lately. So here we are. Today's poem, of course, in memory and honor of Beverly Cleary, is called Fond Memories of Klickitat Street. There's never been a character I was cast as whom I didn't give my very all to. Growing up, I knew choosing to be an actor meant I had a lot to prove. I'd slide all the way into my new identity's shoes. In the case of Beezus Quimby, they were a perfectly preserved vintage pair of saddle shoes in the most soothing shade of Sunday afternoon blue. Something about Beezus rang so true in me. She wanted to be seen as more grown up than she was, and she rolled her eyes at her little sister Ramona, but still comforted her with loving hugs. I cannot connect to this world of charger ports and the purported import of all things containing plugs. I immersed myself into that plywood street with our pretend milkman dropping off the week's milk jugs, always with a smile and a story. It was like I really lived there, and in my already growing cynicism, the simplicity of that 1950s imaginary universe restored me. In the real world, as we refer to it, I was already worried about impressing men who, I'm guessing, never had my sweet and tender heart as a priority. I was so frustrated and underestimated by authority. The brilliant mind that created this world for Beezus and Henry and Ramona knew this feeling. The fiercely independent Miss Beverly Cleary. She interpreted it so clearly when she articulated in interviews that books which claimed to be written for children were actually being written as out-of-touch examples of the perfect little individuals adults wanted them to be. She herself was taunted instead of nurtured when she had difficulties learning or wanting to read. All the grown folks at that time agreed this was merely a sign of a stubborn child trying to make trouble. They were stuck in their judgmental, narrow bubbles. She described seeing other children so separately from herself and wondering what she was missing. She said, "Most kids had nannies and pull-me carts. They seemed like a bunch of sissies to me." She couldn't have captured my own sentiments more accurately. Her assessment of other youth-targeted literature was that writers were coming from a place of imposition rather than inspiration. That struck me as being painfully true, as I felt most of my mentors were often trying to impose their points of views, rather than uncover my own wishes or thoughts. The so-called coloring in the lines or staying inside the box mentality, it never worked for me, and still to this day does not. One thing I loved about Henry and Ramona was that it didn't lean on any salacious or high-stakes plots. It was just living and being kids and trying to find out what the world really is. It was a microcosm of a simpler time, trying to find the next thrilling bike path or belly laugh. It encompassed the hierarchy of those youthful complexities. There were the Scooter and Judy types, the cool older kids with whom us scrawny pigtailed grade schoolers couldn't quite compete. There was the brain of the group, Byron, setting off his rockets, and then Max, Scan, and Roger, always looking for some mischief to leap into. Our director always had us do character bios, and this grew our chosen personas from a tiny bud to a beautiful, flowering, living thing that somehow translated as being more complete. I was jaded by school assignments, even defeated, but my complex, winding, above and beyond bios for theater were never brief. As they say, I turned over every detailed leaf. I remember going page by page and listing everything Beezus would have done that day, right down to the way she brushed her hair and how she prepared her toast. I included a mini comedic roast of little sis Ramona, of course. I loved that Cleary set the course for acceptance of rambunctiousness and didn't force some unattainable standard onto these young characters. Ramona was made fun of for being a total ham, but she doesn't let those opinions change her, even when her own sister calls her crazy for covering her mashed potatoes in jam. It's these little details that make me such a fan. I grew so accustomed to this tiny, brightly colored facade of a neighborhood over the few short weeks the play ran. I wrote all about the smells and sounds of Klickitat Street, which I could fully actualize then, and honestly, still can. I scan my memory for all the tidbits I still hold of this simple set with its little fake porches, each a different bold primary color. When I had to return to 1999, which now seems like a whole other nostalgic time, I felt like everything was duller against the comparison of playing like a kid on Klickitat. I returned to my junior high gray of bullies and lackluster long days and thought, wow, am I ever sick of that? The modern energy just felt quite flat, and I found myself often reflecting back to that bright and breezy reality I briefly inhabited. Now, with Beverly Cleary's passing at the remarkable age of 104, I reflect even more deeply at that pure color she added to the world. She was a precocious girl and didn't let anyone convince her that there was something wrong with that. She grew up a few blocks away from the real Klickitat Street in Portland and felt inspired by the way the name fell off the tongue. If there's such a thing as a true original, I'm certain that she was one. She placed value and necessity on the art of having fun. I fell so completely into her world. I swear, on that indoor stage in our humble little play, I could feel the afternoon sun as I helped Henry with his paper route, which of course Ramona found a way to jumble. I loved the wave of heartfelt connection when the laughter of the audience would rumble because they stumbled into that portal of the past with us. Most of them knew the outcome of these stories, but still got giggly about the antics of Henry and Ribsy. I think that play was the moment I realized I was never going to totally cover up the kid in me. Or, I was never going to totally cover up the kid me. The me that found wonder in painting a make-believe 1950s mailbox a shade of kitsch pink. The me that didn't care what the popular kids or the adults might think of me. I also remember the warmth that spread through the audience during the scenes with Aunt B. Beatrice was the namesake for Beezus, and she and Ramona both always sought to please her. My character, however, truly wanted to be her. She was that cool aunt who drove a car considered too flashy of a color by some, whose vibrant outfits caused many to thumb their noses at her. But she was authentic and saw no purpose to being an acceptable adult poser. My friend portrayed the role so perfectly to the point that the audience didn't see a 16-year-old up there. They saw that lovely, light-as-air, relatable, caring Aunt B. What I find noteworthy looking back is that everyone in the cast had just processed the horrific Columbine high school attacks. We were smack dab in the middle of the entire country shifting to a dark reckoning that continues beckoning us to learn a lesson we can't seem to grasp. And 1 month later, we opened the curtain on a candy-colored past that also hid a whole slew of horrors amassed and swept aside in this could-be great land. Now we've had far too many lessons in what happens when the flames of hate are fanned. Beverly Cleary was the first of many women to take a stand against the limitations and expectations imposed upon our sex. She reflects the strength of being told no and giving it a go anyway. Famously, she was a librarian when she heard some disgruntled kid say, "Why aren't there any good books for us kids?" One of her great quotes is, "If you don't see the book you want on the shelves, write it." She is a representation of how a bright glow only needs to be ignited by a passion and someone deciding to get excited enough to push past the tough stuff and get a dang rough draft on the page. Still to this day, in a world of screens and quick fixes, her stories are all the rage with souls who don't want to be confined or defined by their age. She was a true sage of unique wisdom, and now she's a living legend because she made the decision to be who she knew she had the potential to be. Her accomplishments seem to have no limit to their height. In one of her stories, she speaks to the pain of leaving childhood. I guess that's what growing up is, saying goodbye to a lot of things. Sometimes it is easy, and sometimes it isn't, but it is all right. What a profound insight. I think hidden in that line is a light she shines on the fact that you don't have to pack away all that you were as a youth. You can keep bits of it gleaming in your eyes and soul. And to me, she was living proof. The pictures of her from when her inspiration sparked are so beautiful. Her gaze bright, her cheeks ruddy, though she apparently later described herself as a fuddy-duddy. I think that's a funny summary because she was clearly so much more. There had never been a writer with such a distinct, universal impact before. Her unpretentious descriptions went so much deeper than just the text. Like a simple observation of Ramona. She was not a slowpoke grown-up. She was a girl who could not wait. Life was so interesting she had to find out what happened next. There's so much in those words. It's not overtly intellectual, but it has so much soul heft. A little left of center, she knew just how to venture into the heart of complex stuff. Another line I adore from one of the many books on Ramona. Love isn't like a cup of sugar that gets used up. It just reaches off the page with a gentle, comforting touch. It's a very earnest reminder to not analyze and criticize so darn much. It also seems to me like she was never in a rush. She wasn't writing for someone else's deadlines or time crunch. She basically became a writer because she had a hunch she'd be good at it, and golly, was she ever on the money. I watch interviews with her at the age of 101, and she's still so real and sincere and funny. She created a place of escape we needed and still need. A place with loyal dogs, everyday lessons, and adventures both scary and sunny. I remember scratching my friend dressed in a yarn dog costume as Ribsy on his tummy, and honestly, for just a moment, forgetting he was not a canine. We got so used to words like keen and G, we seemed to actually transport to that far gone time. That sort of release has certainly gotten harder and harder to find. I guess you could say I pine for that place and have never erased its safe-kept corner in my mind to reflect on softly amidst all the noise and embedded ads. Pig-tailed Beezus, romping with her best friend Henry, delivering bags of newspapers to the neighborhood moms and dads. I'm glad I got to live there, if only in a make-believe way. I'll have to go pay a visit to the real Klickitat one day. Rest well, Beverly. Your mighty mark on this world is here to stay. And then I just included a couple other quotes that I really liked. One of these is from, I think, Ramona the Pest. It's from one of the Ramona books. And it just reminded me so much of myself, that, like, want to squeeze everything and touch every texture and be in everything and say yes. So she says, she's talking about Ramona, and she says, all her life she had wanted to squeeze the toothpaste, really squeeze it, not just one little squirt. The paste coiled and swirled and mounded in the wash basin. Ramona decorated the mound with toothpaste roses, as if it was a toothpaste birthday cake. I mean, that's just, yeah. It's original. It's originality in its finest and purest form, and it's so beautiful, and it just takes me out of all of my, like, shouting at clouds and being mad about such a variety of things, and just like, it's okay, ring a bell about it anyway. Jeez Louisa. And then this is a very famous quote of hers. A lot of people know it, but I just think it really summarizes a lot, especially now. And she says, with like 5-year-olds with iPads in their clutches, she says, I don't think children themselves have changed that much. It's the world that has changed. And I love that. She's just she was a great lady. And I feel really lucky to have that experience, have been given the opportunity to dig a little deeper into her inspiration and find out what Klickitat Street was really all about and what did it mean. And I don't know, I think it's so much bigger than just like some silly little story about kids. Was there inclusivity in the world? Was there the right conversations happening at the world time? Heck no. Heck no. But you see that these children are just a product of where they're placed on the planet. They are what they are, but they're so much more than that. I don't know. It just, much like my theater company that I did it in, it gives this voice that children don't typically have. And they are given this platform as fully actualized people, that there's not something missing from them. They're just growing. They're just learning how to be in this world just like the rest of us. And believe me, I've met a lot of fully grown people who have more lessons to learn than children do, and still haven't picked up on them. So I've always treated kids that way, and that's why I've never met a kid that didn't like me, because I talk to them like I'm just talking to a person and having a conversation that means something, rather than no one wants to be talked to like that. You just say, hey, if they're misbehaving, you say, hey, why are you doing that? That's rude. You shouldn't do that. That hurts my feelings. You just give them the opportunity to be as much of a person as you are, and they will take it. So I really felt that in that show, and my costumes were out of this world. Oh, they were so good. They were authentic 1950s kid costumes, which, lucky for me, I was had enough health issues even back then. I had like strep throat every week, so I was scrawny enough to fit into all these kids' clothes, and man, they were cute. I got to wear, gosh, are there any pictures in existence? Before there was such thing as cell phones, you just remember all the things you wished you had pictures of, and it's like, man, was anybody taking pictures of that? But I got to wear a 1950s Girl Scout costume, a real one, super authentic, and it was so cool. All of it was. And my saddle shoes that I got, they weren't this, this outfit that I'm basically wearing, not this, but the exact identical outfit I'm wearing in the press stuff, in the news coverage, was just like, we didn't have the show all put together, and they just found something 50s looking. I didn't actually wear the poodle skirt in the show, and they just had some replica saddle shoes for the pictures for the photo shoot, but in the actual play I wore legit 1950s powder blue beautiful saddle shoes. Oh, the costumes I wish that I could have kept throughout my days. Oh my goodness, theater gods be praised, the things I've been able to wear. So hey, hi there. I'm gonna leave you on that note, because the world awaits, and dinner and things, but it's a beautiful blue moment, and I feel like that line is kind of true, that fake it till you make it thing. I've been really, really dealing with some serious depressed feelings, and do I necessarily feel as poodle skirty as I look? No, but it feels good to put it on anyway and just be in the blue and let the blue in, and yeah, that's what I'm doing, letting the blue in. So hey, heck yeah, more blue, more things to do tomorrow on day 92. That'll be a trip. We're getting so close to 100. I can't believe it. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, get out in the sun, get out in the blue, find things to celebrate about you and those around you, and tune in next time. Yeah, rest sweetly, Beverly Cleary. You had an impact on my life and on so many people's lives, and I'm glad that I finally got this poem together 1 week later to celebrate the legacy that you left on this earth. Thank you for that. And Yeah, here's looking back at Klickitat.